Hello everyone. In continuation with the lecture series in triple integrals, we'll be dealing with the cylindrical coordinate system today. By the end of this session, you'll be able to convert Cartesian coordinates to polar. So our journey would be first Cartesian through polar, we'll be going and reaching to the cylindrical. And you can extend the polar coordinates to the cylindrical coordinates. Okay, now suppose here I have got this as my y-axis, this is the x-axis, right? This is x-axis and this is y-axis here, x and y. And suppose I have any point small r, small p here, small p in the space, right, in this xy plane. Now, how can I denote this p? Some point, so I am having this position of this x-axis this is my x coordinate, right? So what I have done a distance of this point away from y axis. So x unit away from y axis. Now if I will do it here, similarly if I'll do it here, it will be y to this. That means this is nothing but comma y. So coordinates of this point P in xy plane or in a Cartesian coordinates, two-dimensional, is x comma y. This y point is nothing but how much you need this y point is away from x-axis. So this is P x comma y. Now this point P, suppose I'm giving the direction to this point and I'm starting that direction from the origin O here. So suppose this is a direction I have given to this. It's a direction, so I've just drawn the segment OP, which is from here, and this is nothing but a position of this P in xy plane from the origin, right? So suppose this is small r, and how much this is away from this x-axis, this position vector is away from theta, degree theta, right? And this is nothing but this x comma y, which has been the representation of this point P in the xy coordinate. We have got this r and theta is the another representation of this P in this coordinate system. And this coordinate system is known as polar coordinates. So we do have, similarly to that of, we can show the position of P. So this is what I'm just talking about. Instead of this P, I have taken this P in the second quadrant so that this theta would be more visible to you. Then as I have told you, it's xy in the Cartesian as well as r and theta in this polar. And now this polar coordinates, r theta covers each and every point of this coordinate. Now there is one thing. If you'll observe here this theta, if I will complete this one theta starting from here, if I will complete this theta and theta, a complete 2 pi, and again I'm coming here to the same. That means what? I'm adding this theta, I'm adding 2 pi into it. 2 pi into it. What will happen because of this? Because of this 2 pi I'm adding it. If I'm adding this 2 pi, I'm going to come with the same point P in this r and theta plane, right? That means what? This 2 pi is nothing, though my theta is different, I'm going to get the same point representation for this theta. So that theta equals to the point as theta at theta, and point at theta plus 2 pi will give me the same position. So just avoid that. We have decided that okay, we'll restrict our theta is from 0 to 2 pi, and therefore this r, the limit of this r is from 0 to pi. How 0 to infinity? How come it's 0 to infinity? See, this point P is any point on the surface. That surface could be of any radius, or that position might be anywhere in this space. And therefore, the restriction of this r is from 0 to pi. Why this 0? That means there is some point has to be there on this, then only it is starting. So it is more than, the distance cannot be negative. That is why it is going to be 0 to the infinity. And theta is from 0 to 2 pi. We are restricting that restriction over here. Okay, how can we convert that? This is what we have got it. This is the xy plane and this is the point P over here, right? Now this is a small r, the position, what we have seen it like the last slide. Then this is the theta. Now, if I will observe this triangle over here, suppose for this is my origin O and this is the point A. What I have done, this point A is nothing but a perpendicular from the point P on the OX line, or you can say X axis. Now, if this is a point perpendicular, and we know this is now a POA angle, and therefore I'm going to get this adjacent side of this theta is nothing but r cos of theta, right? Which is nothing but x, because this is nothing but a distance of this x unit on the this x axis, right? So it's x is equals to r cos of theta. I've got my first. Second thing is it opposite side. So opposite side of this theta is PA, and this PA is r sine of theta. Therefore my y equals to r sine of theta, right? Now again, let me just go back to the same thing. So I have got this is x and this is y. So what would be my hypotenuse by right angle triangle? It is square root of x squared plus y squared, right? Right. Similarly, we can show this same identity using this. What is this? I have got x is equals to r cos theta, y is r sin theta. And therefore, what I am going to do it, x squared plus y squared is equals to r squared cos squared. So just x is been replaced as r cos theta, y has been replaced as r sine theta. So I'm just doing it, and this identity, you know that this identity is equals to 1, and therefore I'm going to get my r square. So x square plus y square is r square. Okay, now what else is there? This is the theta. So I can find out the tan of that. That means the opposite side, the adjacent side. And if I'll take the ratio of that, that will give me r sine theta upon r cos theta, which is equals to tan theta. And therefore, this is nothing but the conversion back from polar to the Cartesian. This is what is the first is r is equals to square root of x square plus y square. Theta is r, that is you can say a tan inverse of y by x. This is what we have been doing until now. The theory behind it is this. Okay, now whenever we are talking about the polar coordinates and the integration and all, we have to find out the volume element of this. So volume element of polar coordinates is nothing but, first of all, we know that this is x equals to r cos theta, y is equals to r sin theta. Then we need to go for the Jacobian. Jacobian is, this is nothing but a Jacobian here. So this Jacobian is dou x comma y upon dou r comma theta, which is dou x upon dou r. That means this is with respect to x first and with respect to both the variables. Similarly, this is for y. Just you can easily calculate, this is nothing but cos theta and all. After finding out this determinant, we are going to get r, and therefore the volume element for the polar coordinates is dA, which is nothing but the Jacobian into dr d theta. What is Jacobian? We have got it as modulus of or mod of r. It's like whatever it's a positive or negative. I'm going to consider this, whatever this answer I've got it as a small r, which is always my positive r, right? Because we are not considering r as a negative. It's 0 to infinity. So this is nothing but r dr d theta. Fine. Now let us move slowly from the polar. Now we have seen the entire thing of the polar coordinates. We have understood that this is what is the polar r, theta, the convergence, the back from polar to Cartesian, Cartesian to polar, the volume element. What is the change in the cylindrical? Change in the cylindrical is a small thing. What is it? It is just a same as a polar coordinates with a small addition, that is a z coordinate has been added. That means it is nothing but an extension of polar coordinates to three-dimensional r, theta, and z. Okay. Now this is what we have seen in the last slide. This was my x and x axis and y axis here. This is x axis. This is y axis here, and this is x axis here, and then this is my small r, and then this is what this x and y and r and theta, everything was, we have seen. What we have done, that xy plane we have just tilted like that, and we have added the z axis into it. So in three-dimensional, we have got P, the position of P as x comma y comma z, whereas in the cylindrical, we will have to just replace that r and theta with one more, that is z. So this r comma theta comma z. Okay, the conversion, as I've told you, that is just an addition of one axis, that is a z. there will not be any change in the conversion or the Cartesian to cylindrical coordinates. What is this? This is x equals to r cos theta, which we have seen in the last polar me. Then this y is equals to r sin theta, which is the same as that in the polar. But what is this? This is nothing but z equals to z. Means there is no change in z. Z will remain z only. So we have been got whatever this 2D, we have got just a height as a z. Sometimes it might happen that this z, the axis might change as the height wise. Say for sometimes it might change. The role of z might be replaced as role of y, might be replaced as a role of x. That those things I'll be dealing with the next video, which will be a triple integral from the cylindrical coordinates. I'll be explaining you whatever the statement I have done it right now. I'll be explaining you that with the example. And most of the time, we have to use the modified version of cylindrical coordinates. Very simple. It's extremely simple. Okay. Then the conversion from cylindrical to polar, the Cartesian coordinates will be same as we have seen. The r square is this, and theta is tan inverse, and this is what is my z equal. So one thing you need to know it here, or just understand it here. That is what I've done it here. The tag as a remember, z coordinates remains the same in both the cases, whether it's from Cartesian to cylindrical or to Cartesian. It will not change. Z will remain z. Now, what we have to just any guesses for this slide? Yes, we need to go for the volume element. How that volume element will move from this cylindrical coordinate system. Yeah, this is the Cartesian to cylindrical coordinates. The same is x is equals to r cos theta, y is r sin theta, z will remain z only, and these are nothing but the Jacobian, the values of all those in between Jacobian, and this is what I'm going to get it. So dou x comma y comma z with respect to dou r comma theta comma z. This is nothing but here dou x comma x by dou r. Why it's a dou? Because I have got three variables in the numerator and I have got three variables in the denominator. That means what each and every variable x is depending on r theta z, y is also depending on r theta and z. But if you'll observe this x for x, if you'll observe this, this is nothing but this column denotes, or this element denotes dou x upon dou z, right? Dou x upon dou z. If you observe it, it is there is in this x, this here we have got r and theta. There is no z into it, and therefore if you observe here, this dou x upon dou z, this element we have got it as 0. Similarly, we don't have x in x, we don't have y and z. Y also we don't have z. Therefore, we can just easily see this, right? Similarly, this also you can just see very easily. It's very simple to just understand it. It's a dou y upon dou z and all. So this is just a Jacobian, and the find out the Jacobian, the determinant of Jacobian. After that, we are going to get dv as dx dy dz is equals to r dr d theta dz. Now, if you'll understand or remember what we have done in the polar coordinates, we have done the volume element of polar as dx dy is equals to r dr d theta. That was there in between before polar coordinates also. What has been added is this dz and this dz. That means both the ways, as my z will remain same for both the things, similarly my dz will not also change in the volume element. Volume element, if this dx dy, if the dz is getting added, similarly here r dr d theta, this dz is just getting multiplied here. Nothing will happen extra, and that is why we have done it here, a detailed examination and detailed the revision of polar coordinates, so that the cylindrical coordinates would be very simple for you to understand. I hope everybody must have understood the cylindrical coordinate system. The more the examples based on the cylindrical coordinate system, I'll be dealing with the in the video triple integral cylindrical coordinate system. Thank you. Happy learning.